You walk into a parking garage at night, and before you've even reached your car, your shoulders tighten, your eyes scan the shadows, your pace quickens without your permission. Nothing is there. You know nothing is there. But the real answer for why your body just did all of that is far stranger than simple caution. You are not bracing for a stranger. You are running from a predator that has been extinct for 10,000 years. That feeling has a name. Scientists call it hypervigilance, which just means your nervous system is scanning for threats before your conscious mind is caught up. It is fast, it is automatic, and it is ancient. Your body did not invent this reaction for parking garages, because parking garages did not exist for 99% of the time your species has been alive. So where did it come from? To answer that, you have to go back, not centuries, hundreds of thousands of years, to the grasslands and forest edges of ancient Africa, where your ancestors were not the top of the food chain. They were prey. Leopards picked them off from trees. Lions stalked them at dusk. Hyenas circled the weak and the slow. And one threat in particular shaped your brain more than almost any other: the snake. A primatologist named Lynn Isbell spent years studying why primates, including humans, have such unusually sharp vision compared to other mammals. Her theory, now widely cited, is called the snake detection theory. Her argument is simple but unsettling. Snakes have been hunting primates for tens of millions of years, far longer than lions or leopards. Every generation that failed to notice a snake in the grass simply did not get to have children. Every generation that flinched a half second faster did. Over millions of years, that flinch became wired in, not learned. Wired in, before birth, ready to fire. That is the part most people never noticed. You did not learn to fear a coiled shape in tall grass. Babies who have never seen a real snake will fixate on snake-shaped images faster than almost anything else shown to them. The fear was already installed before you took your first breath. Why would evolution bother building something so specific? Because hesitation was a death sentence. Imagine two early humans crossing the same patch of grass. One stops to think, is that a stick or a snake? The other's body has already jumped backward before the question even forms. The thinker sometimes loses. The jumper almost always lives. Across thousands of generations, only the jumper's genes made it forward. You are descended entirely from jumpers. Snakes were not the only architects of your nervous system. Big cats hunted from above, dropping from low branches before a single warning sound. Crocodiles waited at the water's edge, exactly where thirst forced your ancestors to kneel. Even other humans posed a constant, quiet danger, since a rival group or a single armed stranger could end a life as fast as any animal could. Your ancestors lived their entire existence inside a threat map with dozens of entries on it. Most of those entries had teeth. This is where a neuroscientist named Joseph Ledoux changed how we understand fear itself. Ledoux mapped what he called the brain's low road, a shortcut that runs straight from your eyes to a small almond-shaped structure deep in your brain called the amygdala. Amygdala just means the part of your brain that decides something might be dangerous, fast, before you've had a single conscious thought about it. The low road skips your thinking brain entirely. It does not wait for permission. By the time your conscious mind catches up and says, oh, that was just a hose, your amygdala has already flooded your body with stress chemicals, and your hand has already pulled back. This system kept your ancestors alive for hundreds of thousands of years. There's just one problem. It never learned to update. Here's the twist nobody tells you. Your amygdala does not know that leopards in your neighborhood went extinct around the same time wheels were invented. It does not know lions can't get into your apartment. It does not even fully understand the difference between a predator and a deadline. It was built to answer one question only: is something coming for me right now? And in the modern world, it has run out of leopards to look for, so it starts treating everything else as one. A neuroendocrinologist named Robert Sapolsky spent decades studying exactly this gap, comparing the stress response of zebras on the African savanna to the stress response of modern humans. His finding, laid out in his research and his widely read book, Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers, is almost embarrassingly simple once you hear it. A zebra's stress system turns on when a lion appears and turns off the moment the lion is gone, whether the zebra escaped or simply wasn't chosen that day. The danger ends, so the alarm ends. Humans are different. Your alarm can turn on over an email that hasn't even been opened yet. It can turn on remembering an argument from 3 days ago. It can turn on imagining a conversation that hasn't happened and might never happen. The lion was never there at all, but your body floods with the exact same chemicals it would use to outrun one. Sapolsky's research showed something even harder to sit with. Zebras don't get ulcers, his title argues, because their stress only ever activates for genuine, short-lived emergencies. A human brain, by contrast, can run that same emergency response for hours, days, sometimes years, simply by replaying a thought. You can lie in bed at midnight, perfectly safe, doors locked, nothing hunting you, and still trigger the full ancient alarm just by remembering an email you sent badly worded that afternoon. No predator on Earth could do that to a zebra. Only a human mind can do it to itself, on command, for free. That's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. Cortisol and adrenaline don't know the difference between a charging predator and a passive-aggressive text message. Your heart rate climbs the same way. Your muscles tense the same way. Your stomach knots the same way. The zebra's body is built for a sprint, then rest. Your body in the modern world often never gets the rest because the predators never technically leave. They just keep reappearing as notifications. Think about what actually spikes your pulse on an average day. A red notification badge. A boss saying, "Can we talk?" with no other context. A stranger on the street holding eye contact a beat too long. None of these things can bite you. None of them have claws. But your amygdala doesn't process the content of the threat, only its shape, its suddenness, its uncertainty. A sudden, unexplained message lands in the same ancient circuitry as a rustle in the grass. Your brain says, unknown, sudden, possibly dangerous. React now, sort out the details later. This is sometimes called the smoke detector principle, an idea associated with evolutionary psychologist Randolph Nessa. A smoke detector that occasionally screams over burnt toast is still doing its job, because the cost of one annoying false alarm is nothing compared to the cost of missing a real fire even once. Evolution built your fear response the same cheap, oversensitive way. It would rather you flinch at 100 shadows that were never leopards than miss the one shadow that actually was. You are the descendant of every ancestor whose alarm went off too easily and survived anyway. The ones whose alarms were too quiet simply aren't your ancestors. So when you feel your chest tighten before opening an email, you're dreading, that is not a personal flaw. That is a 30,000-year-old survival circuit, doing exactly what it was built to do, aimed at the wrong target. When a silence in a conversation makes you suddenly anxious, some very old part of your brain is asking whether you're about to be cast out of the group. Because for most of human history, exile from the group meant death by exposure or by something with teeth. Your body still treats social rejection like a physical predator, because for nearly all of your evolutionary history, it effectively was one. Consider how this plays out in something as small as a group chat. Someone posts a message, 3 people respond, you don't. An hour passes, and a small, specific dread starts to build, even though nothing has actually happened. No one said anything about you. No one is plotting against you. But somewhere underneath your conscious thought, an old accounting system is running. The same one that once tracked your standing inside a small band of 30 or 40 people on whom your survival entirely depended. Falling out of favor with that band wasn't an inconvenience. It was, historically, one of the most lethal events that could happen to a human being, because a lone human outside the group rarely lasted long against the cold, the hunger, or the predators waiting at the edge of the firelight. Your brain still files social distance under the same heading as physical danger, because for almost the entire span of human history, it belonged there. Here's the strange comfort hidden inside all of this. You are not broken. You are not weak for feeling your pulse spike over something that, rationally, you know can't actually hurt you. You are running incredibly old software on a body that was never updated for elevators, inboxes, or group chats. The leopard is gone. The hyenas are gone. The snake in the grass might genuinely never cross your path again in your entire life, but the alarm that was built to scream about them is still fully installed, still fully wired, still firing on schedule, because nothing in your genetic code told it the war ever ended. Once you see the pattern, you start noticing it everywhere. The way a sudden silence on a phone call makes your stomach drop before your friend has even finished their sentence. The way a missed call from an unknown number with no voicemail sits in your chest for an hour. The way standing at the front of a room full of strangers can make your hands shake, even though nobody in that room intends you any harm at all. None of these moments contain teeth or claws. All of them get processed by tissue that was built generation after generation to answer one single question. Will this kill me? Your modern life rarely asks that question for real, and yet the system answers it dozens of times a day anyway. Because answering quickly was always safer than answering correctly. Knowing this won't switch the alarm off. It was never designed with an off switch, but it changes what the feeling means. The tight chest before a hard conversation, the prickling neck in an empty stairwell, the jolt at an unexpected phone call late at night. These aren't signs that something is wrong with you. They're proof of exactly how well the system worked, for exactly as long as it needed to. So tonight, when you walk into that parking garage and your shoulders tighten all over again, you'll know who you're really listening for. Not a stranger, not a threat that's actually there. A leopard that has been extinct for 10,000 years, still showing up for work every single night, wearing somebody else's footsteps.